Hello again. It's me, that girl with a chronic disease. Here to talk about things that I think we all struggle with. This is my favorite topic because even this week someone said to me, there's just no way there's a loving God if all of this is happening to me. And I just have this theory. Started a long time ago. There's much more to be said about it than I will be able to say in the confines of this video, but I'll give you the bottom line. The bottom line is, I believe that from the first breath until our last, we're in a battle to know that we are loved by the God of heaven. I truly believe that His love is the constant. And it's always having to fight against the reality of the rejection and the hurt that is the constant here. I used to, I'll go back to this. Years ago when I was first hurt by a very neat woman, godly woman, she spoke life to me and then kind of decided that she didn't want to be my friend anymore. And it just crushed me. And I used to drive around with this just ache in my soul going, Jesus, if you left me, I would not be hurting like this. And this was before my husband was dying of a brain tumor. This was before I was sick or my son was sick. Long before a lot of other stuff. Right then at the, 21, something like that, I'm saying, God, how can you love me and let this happen? And I can still almost picture where I was on the road when He said, Susan, I'm not letting, that isn't me. That's not what I want to have happen. That's what I came to redeem, to make better. I came and gave my life through Jesus Christ so that you could know love. In the wake of all this loss and hurt and tossed out words, I'm guilty of hurting people. People are guilty of hurting me. We all have seasons of rejection. Yes, some are worse than others. There are people whose stories are far worse than my own. But I have been crushed by people's opinions and thoughts to the point I had to kind of resurrect my soul again. I had to fight back. And anyway, long ago when my husband was sick and dying, or we knew he was terminal, I had gone to a church service and it was a camp service, and at the end there was an altar call to know God's love for you. I did not want to go forward. I wanted Jason healed at that point. I had other plans and told God, I'm not going forward. You should be touching somebody else. And I heard almost an audible voice. And it said, Susan, is it not enough if I heal you? Now that's kind of ironic in the light of the fact that I'm sitting here making a video as a girl with a chronic disease. But I went forward that night and this peace came over me. Well, first of all, I cried and prayed quite a bit with some friends. You can ask them. They will attest to the fact that this went on for a while and I kind of purged my entire soul of all the things that had happened that week that I was very upset about. And I cried through it and cried through it and cried through it. And then there was just this peace that came over me. And I knew something was different when I started writing songs the next day. I still write songs. Haven't made the top 40 yet. Probably won't. But those songs are a reminder of the change in me, that God came in and touched my soul and quieted that rejection, quieted the hurt, and filled me up with something I didn't even know to ask for. I'd been a Christian all my life. And I remember thinking at that time, I didn't even know this kind of sense of beauty and calm in His love was real. I will say that 6 months prior to that, I'd been wrestling with the hurt from that friend, and I'd talked to a pastor who said, Susan, you're not rejected. God has not rejected you. So I want to say this to anybody who's in that place, saying, there just cannot be a God of love if I have to walk through all this crap. I want to tell you there is a God of love, and He hasn't rejected you. But yes, we live in chaos, and we live where hurt flies. We live where loss is rampant. We live where heroin is grabbing hold of kids. We live where chronic disease invades our bodies. But that's why Jesus came. And so I learned after that experience that I had, I learned then to say, okay, when everything starts hitting the fan, when everything's too stressful, I just say over and over again, I love you, Lord, and you love me. I love you, Lord, and you love me. It's been over 20 years and I still do that. It's like when the darkness gets to a certain place and I know I just kind of can't see the way. It's my moment of faith that says, Lord, right now my heart doesn't feel loved. I'm not sure where the love is, but right now I believe that love is real and that love is you. Now, I just want to say that this has worked for me for a long time. And I know that this is a real battle. Depression is a real battle. Depression is a real thing, and sometimes medicines help. I'm all for medicines. I'm all for counseling. I'm all for a lot of things that help keep the health of our souls going. But I also want to say that battling with Scripture, choosing to speak Scripture, choosing to speak life, choosing, it's like a little brain switch we have to go on. We have to go from the, how could you do this, Lord, to the, oh, thank God that you are the one who is still for me in the midst of all of this other stuff. Because he is for us. He is the love, like the sun that's always shining. He is the love. He said, in this world you will have trouble, but take heart. I have overcome the world. So take heart today. Press in, even if you just have to go months. I am not rejected by God. Then just do that. Take that simple step. Signing off from my basement studio. It's a girl with a chronic disease.